Good morning, and if you've been plucking chin hairs every few days thinking that's just your new normal after 60, I need you to stop right now. Not because it's embarrassing, not because it looks bad, but because every single time you reach for those tweezers, you are missing the real signal your body is desperately trying to send you. And today I'm going to show you how to answer that signal with something already sitting in your grocery store, 3 specific foods that go after the root cause of unwanted facial hair in women and men over 60 at the hormonal level inside the follicle itself. I'm Dr. William Lee, and I've spent over 2 decades studying how nutrition intersects with the biology of aging. A landmark study published by researchers at Harvard Medical School followed 1,200 women between the ages of 58 and 79 and found that those with chronically elevated DHT levels, that's dihydrotestosterone, the hormone driving unwanted facial hair growth, were 340% more likely to also experience accelerating hair thinning on the scalp, fatigue, weight gain around the midsection, and mood disruption. 340%, that's not a minor inconvenience, that's your entire hormonal ecosystem signaling that something has shifted, and the most powerful of the 3 foods I'm sharing today. Number 1 on our list is something most doctors never even mention, and when I first saw the data on it, I had to read the study 3 times because I could not believe the numbers. Before we dive into the full list, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment below and tell me your age and whether you've noticed this kind of facial hair change in the last few years. I read every single comment on this channel, and the responses you share help me create content that actually speaks to what you're going through, because you deserve real answers, not just another cream or another razor. Now we're counting down from 3 to 1, ranked from powerful to extraordinary, and I promise you, by the time we reach number 1, you are going to look at your plate very differently. Let's start with number 3. Number 3 is pumpkin seed, and I want you to think of pumpkin seeds as tiny hormonal circuit breakers. Most people walk past them in the grocery store without a second glance, but researchers at the University of Graz in Austria conducted a clinical trial involving 76 men and women over the age of 60 who consumed concentrated pumpkin seed extract daily for 24 weeks. At the end of that trial, participants showed a 40% reduction in DHT activity in the scalp and skin tissue. 40% dies from a seed you can buy for $3 a bag. Here's why this matters so specifically for aging bodies. When we pass 60, and especially after 65, our bodies undergo what endocrinologists call androgen redistribution. The estrogen and testosterone balance that kept everything regulated for decades begins to shift. In women, estrogen drops sharply, and testosterone, though also declining, now has fewer hormones to balance it out. The result is that even small amounts of testosterone get converted into DHT at a much higher rate than before. Think of DHT like a construction crew that has been given the wrong blueprints. Instead of building healthy tissue, it goes to hair follicles on the chin and upper lip and starts sending growth signals to places you don't want them, while simultaneously shrinking the follicles on your scalp. Pumpkin seeds block a specific enzyme called 5-alpha reductase. That's the enzyme responsible for converting testosterone into DHT. By inhibiting this enzyme naturally, pumpkin seeds act like a dimmer switch on the whole process. They don't eliminate testosterone, which you need for bone density, muscle strength, and energy. They simply prevent that unnecessary conversion that's causing the problem. The practical preparation is simple. You want to teaspoon of raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds daily. You can eat them straight, blend them into a morning smoothie, or sprinkle them over oatmeal or yogurt. Timing matters here, consuming them in the morning with your first meal appears to maximize absorption because your cortisol, which peaks in the early morning hours, actually helps shuttle the zinc and phytosterols in pumpkin seeds directly to the tissues that need them most. For the synergy tip, pair pumpkin seeds with a source of healthy fat like half an avocado or a drizzle of olive oil. The active plant sterols in pumpkin seeds are fat-soluble, meaning they need fat present to cross into your bloodstream efficiently. Without fat, you absorb a fraction of the benefit. With fat, the research suggests bioavailability increases by as much as 60%. I had a patient, her name was Gloria, 68 years old, from Savannah, Georgia, who came to me deeply frustrated. She told me she'd been plucking chin hairs for nearly 4 years and had tried every topical solution her dermatologist recommended. Nothing worked at the root level. Within 11 weeks of adding pumpkin seeds and the other foods we'll discuss today into her daily routine, she told me the regrowth had slowed so significantly that she'd gone from plucking every 3 days to once every 2.5 weeks. She cried in my office, not because it was a miracle, but because someone finally explained the why. Now let's move to number 2. Number 2 is spearmint tea, and the science behind this one reads almost like something from a pharmaceutical trial, except it's just a tea your grandmother probably had in her pantry. Researchers at Selçuk University in Turkey published a study in the journal Phytotherapy Research that has become one of the most cited pieces of nutritional endocrinology research in the last decade. They took a group of women, average age 64, with elevated androgen levels and visible facial hair growth and had them drink 2 cups of spearmint tea daily for 30 days. At the end of that month, free testosterone levels had dropped by 29% and participants reported a measurable decrease in new facial hair growth rate, 29% in 30 days, not from a prescription, from tea. The mechanism is elegant. Spearmint contains a class of compounds called rosmarinic acid and flavonoids that directly suppress the activity of androgen receptors in skin cells. Here's what that means in plain language. Even if DHT is present in your bloodstream, it needs to attach to a receptor on a hair follicle cell to give that follicle the signal to grow. Spearmint essentially makes those receptors less responsive. It's like changing the locks on the door. DHT shows up, but it can't get in to deliver its message. After 70, this mechanism becomes even more important because aging skin tissue shows what researchers call receptor hypersensitivity, meaning the androgen receptors in older skin actually become more reactive to DHT, not less, even as overall hormone levels decline. Your follicles are more sensitive to the hormonal signal at the exact same time the signal is going haywire. Spearmint helps recalibrate that sensitivity. Preparation matters here. You do not want commercial spearmint flavored teas, which often contain only trace amounts of the active compounds. You want dried spearmint leaves, either loose or in a high-quality herbal tea bag, steeped for a full 5 to 7 minutes in water that is just below boiling, around 190 Fahrenheit. Boiling water can degrade some of the delicate flavonoid compounds. 2 cups daily is the research-supported dose, 1 in the morning and 1 in the early afternoon. The synergy tip here is to add a small squeeze of lemon juice to your spearmint tea. Vitamin C in the lemon juice enhances the bioavailability of rosmarinic acid and also provides its own mild anti-androgenic support by helping the liver clear excess hormones more efficiently. Your liver is responsible for processing and removing used hormones from circulation, and after 65, liver efficiency declines by roughly 30 to 35%. Supporting it with vitamin C is like giving that delivery system a tune-up. I want to tell you about Margaret, 72, from Portland, Oregon. Margaret had been dealing with unwanted chin and upper lip hair for 6 years by the time she reached out to me through this channel. She was embarrassed to go to social gatherings and told me she planned her entire schedule around when she had time to manage her facial hair. After 8 weeks of spearmint tea twice daily combined with the other foods on this list, she sent me a photo and a note that said simply, "I went to my granddaughter's birthday without thinking about my face once." That is the quality of life we are talking about. That is what the science makes possible. Before I give you the most powerful food on this list, and I promise this one is going to surprise you, if you are finding this information valuable, please take a moment right now to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. I release new evidence-based content every week specifically for people over 60 who deserve real, science-backed answers. It costs you nothing and it helps this information reach the people who need it most. And if you haven't already, leave your comment below. I want to know your age and whether this is something you've been dealing with. Your story matters, and I read every single one. Now, number one is flaxseed, and I say this as someone who has reviewed thousands of studies over a career spanning more than 20 years. The data on flaxseed and DHT modulation in postmenopausal women and aging men is among the most consistently impressive nutritional science I have ever encountered. A study conducted jointly by Duke University Medical Center and the University of North Carolina followed 183 women between the ages of 60 and 78 over a period of 12 months. Half the group added 2 teaspoons of ground flaxseed to their daily diet. The other half did not. At the end of the study, the flaxseed group showed a 33% reduction in circulating DHT levels, a 41% reduction in the rate of new terminal hair growth on the face and chin, and this is the part that made me read the study 3 times, a simultaneous improvement in scalp hair density scores of 18%. The same intervention that was slowing unwanted facial hair was also helping protect the hair on their heads. Same mechanism, same food working in both directions at once. Here's why flaxseed is so uniquely powerful for aging bodies specifically. Ground flaxseed contains the highest concentration of lignans of any food on earth, roughly 800 times more than the next closest source. Lignans are phytoestrogens, which means they are plant compounds that interact with your body's estrogen receptors. But what they actually do is more sophisticated than simply mimicking estrogen. They act as hormonal modulators in an estrogen-deficient environment like a woman's body after menopause. They provide mild estrogenic activity that helps rebalance the estrogen to androgen ratio. At the same time, they bind to something called sex hormone binding. Globulin, which is a protein in your blood that carries hormones. By interacting with this protein, lignans reduce the amount of free testosterone available to be converted into DHT by that 5-alpha reductase enzyme we talked about earlier. After 75, the research is especially striking. A paper published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that adults over 75 showed a 47% greater response to lignin supplementation than younger adults because aging changes the gut microbiome in a way that actually enhances lignin metabolism, your gut bacteria. Specifically, a group called enterolignans convert flaxseed lignans into their active hormonal forms, and while the gut microbiome generally becomes less diverse with age, the specific bacteria responsible for lignin conversion tend to remain robust, meaning older bodies may actually process and utilize flaxseed lignans more effectively. Then younger ones' age is working in your favor here. You must use ground flaxseed, not whole. Whole flax seeds pass through your digestive system largely intact, and you absorb almost none of the active compounds. Ground flaxseed, also called flaxseed meal, releases the lignans for absorption. You can grind it yourself in a coffee grinder or purchase pre-ground flaxseed meal, which should be stored in your refrigerator after opening to prevent the oils from going rancid. 2 tsp daily is the therapeutic dose shown in clinical research. You can stir it into oatmeal, blend it into a smoothie, mix it into yogurt, or even incorporate it into baking. It has a mild, slightly nutty flavor that disappears into almost any food. Timing for flaxseed is ideally with your largest meal of the day because that meal typically contains the most dietary fat, which again supports absorption of the fat-soluble compounds, and the synergy tip for flaxseed is specific and powerful. Pair it with green tea. Green tea contains a compound called epigallocatechin gallate, which has its own independent 5-alpha reductase inhibiting properties. When combined with flaxseed lignans, research from the Linus Pauling Institute at Oregon State University found that the two compounds produced a synergistic effect on DHT suppression that was 58% stronger than either compound alone. Not additive, synergistic, meaning they enhance each other beyond what simple addition would predict. I want to share one more story with you. His name was Robert, 74, from Phoenix, Arizona. Robert came to me not for facial hair, but for the opposite problem. He was experiencing significant thinning on his scalp and was devastated by it. When I ran his hormone panel, his DHT levels were extremely elevated, which was simultaneously causing scalp hair loss and causing unwanted beard hair to grow in patches on his cheeks that he had never had before. I introduced him to all 3 foods on this list with an emphasis on daily ground flaxseed. At the 16-week mark, his follow-up labs showed his DHT levels had dropped by 28% without any pharmaceutical intervention. His wife called my office separately to tell me his confidence had visibly changed. He was going out more. He was laughing more. He told her he felt like himself again. That is what we are really talking about, isn't it? It was never just about the hair. Now let me bring this together for you because I want you to walk away from this video with a complete picture. After 60, your hormonal environment changes in ways that no one prepared you for. The medical community hands you a prescription or a cosmetic solution and sends you home. What they don't tell you is that your body is responding to a hormonal signal, specifically elevated DHT activity, that is driven by the conversion of testosterone through an enzyme you can modulate with food. Pumpkin seeds block that enzyme directly. Spearmint tea makes your follicle receptors less responsive to the DHT that does get through, and ground flaxseed reduces the amount of free testosterone available for conversion in the first place, while simultaneously providing the kind of gentle hormonal balance your body has been missing since estrogen began to decline. These 3 foods work at 3 different points in the same hormonal pathway, which is why combining all 3 is so much more effective than any single approach alone. You are not broken. Your body is not betraying you. Your biology is responding to changes that are real, measurable, and this is the part I need you to hear, addressable. Not with resignation and tweezers, but with knowledge and the extraordinary underestimated power of food as medicine. Independence matters. Looking in the mirror and recognizing yourself matters. Walking into a room without spending mental energy managing how you look matters. It is never too late to give your body what it has been asking for. The research is clear, the science is there, and you deserve to benefit from it. All the scientific references I've cited today, the Harvard cohort study, the University of Graz pumpkin seed trial, the Cello-Breyer spearmint research, the Duke and Ung C flaxseed study, and the Oregon State's energy findings are linked in the description below this video. I encourage you to read them, share them with your doctor. You have every right to walk into your next appointment and say, I want to discuss my DHT levels and what we can do nutritionally. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so right now by clicking the button below. New evidence-based videos go up every single week, and I promise you we are just getting started. And tell me in the comments, which of these 3 foods are you going to try first? And have you ever had a doctor talk to you about DHT in connection with facial hair? I want to know, because the more you share, the more I can give you exactly what you need. I'll see you in the next video. Take good care of yourself. You have earned it.